And for those of you wondering, who in their right mind would let me drive their Porsche? No one other than the Katmann.
Hey hoser, I guess that's me.
So if you didn't notice there, obviously Mr. Katmann is Canadian from the Great White North. He drove 1,800 miles just for me to drive this for about an hour.
And that's not creepy at all.
Why don't you tell us a little bit about this car?
It's a 2007 base Cayman. It's got a 2.7 liter flat six, which is different than a V6 obviously. And it's got a 5-speed manual transmission. Engine is mid-mounted in behind the driver's and passenger seats. There are no back seats, so it's just a 2-seater. It's got a frunk and a trunk, so there's lots of storage, and that gives it the balance of 60-40, 60% of the weight's in the back tires, 40% in the front tires. And as you've just experienced, it gives you a really good experience when you're going on windy, tight little roads like this.
It does. It's like it was built for roads like this. All right, guys, the Katmann didn't just drive over here just so we can drive this car for an hour. He had business to do it down here, all right?
Yeah, I actually had a client in the area, which is kind of surprising, but I do.
Oh my goodness. This is the first Porsche I've ever driven, and it's different from any other car I've driven in the past. It's a lot more planted, the steering's heavy, gearbox is very chunky and mechanical, but the soundtrack. Oh my God. Said it had a 5-speed exhaust?
Yeah, the only mod it has really from factory is a 5-speed exhaust. Which just opens up, lets it breathe a little bit more. So it's, even though it's a base model, the smaller engine and stuff like that, it's still certified Porsche.
It just feels so planted. It's like there's magnets on the ground.
Right. Well, ever since you drove it last night, I've had to keep an eye on the keys. I know that for sure.
Yeah, you better hide the keys from me, because, and that's another thing, is that the Porsches, I got in here and I had the key in my right hand, obviously, and I go and I look and I'm, hey, is this keyless entry? But it's just key on the left-hand side.
So do you know why it is on the left-hand side?
It's something to do with races, right?
It is something to do with races. It's a big race you might have heard of before called Le Mans.
Huh. So it sounds familiar.
Sounds familiar. So Le Mans, the race begins when drivers run to their car, right?
Right.
So Porsche came up with the idea that as you're running to your car, you want to be able to start it quickly. Well, do you want to run into your car and then have to reach around the steering wheel and fumble? Or do you want to open up the door and immediately see your key right there? So you can immediately get in, start the car without having to fumble around for it. And because everything that happens in racing typically makes its way to road, Porsche just decided to do that for all vehicles. This vehicle has it as well as my Cayenne too.
Yeah.
The Cayenne has it on that side, and it drives everybody bonkers because they get in and they're like, where the hell is the key?
Yeah, that was going to be my next point too, is Katmann is not only an owner of one Porsche, but he has 2 Porsches. Right. Porsches. So, well, I mean, I guess you can settle the argument, lifelong argument of, is it Porsche or Porsche?
Okay, so, I mean, I've seen this battle go on quite intently for quite a while. And honestly, when you come right down to it, it is a pronunciation thing with regards to the German language. The name Porsche, it's more like Porsche. So it's the way that they actually say the word, it's the dialect, and it's not necessarily Porsche, it's Porsche.
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 So when you're a German and you have the accent of a German and you say the word Porsche, it just comes out as Porsche.
Yeah, I mean, so, if you own one, I think you could call it whatever the hell you want.
I call it fun as hell is what I call it.
Yeah, and the Katmann, I respect him because he doesn't want this car to be a garage queen. He drove it 1,800 miles from Canada to the southern border of the United States we're literally at rock throwing distance from the border right now.
I'm completely fascinated by how close I am to the Mexican border, and I mean, it's kind of no big deal for him, but it's crazy to me because literally I am 1,800 miles away from home. Living in Canada, I can literally only drive this car for anywhere from 4 to 6 months out of the year, and so oftentimes with being busy with work so much, I don't really get to put the miles on it that I would really like to. And last summer was almost kind of ridiculous. I put a very short amount of miles on it in the 4 to 6 months that I had it out. And I just basically said, look, I need a break from work and I want to put some miles in this car. This car was built to be driven, not sit around in a garage.
Yep.
So, hey, what better way than to take a little vacation down here, meet with a client, and hang out with you for a couple of days.
Hell yeah. And I mean, I'm not gonna deny a nice joyride in a Cayman. This is so badass. This is the most fun I've had in a car in a long time. It just has such a nice...
It's got a personality.
Oh my god, that sound. Like, I just want to shift through the gears. I don't even care if I have to. I just want to hear it go up and down and up and down. And it's not fast in a way that it'll terrify you.
No.
But it's fast enough where you can be terrified if you'd like.
Right. I've always described this car to people as a zippy car. This is a zippy car. It gets along pretty fast. You can corner quite nicely in it, so you can, you feel like you're going a little faster than you actually are because you can corner the way you are. But yeah, I mean, there's very little ways to get yourself in trouble in this car. You can get yourself in trouble in a Corvette or a Viper or some of those cars really, really quickly. Like just a little bit of unattention and bam, you are so in trouble. Whereas this one, it's quite forgiving.
A little bit sideways?
Oh, the only time I've ever really felt it slide much is every once in a while in heavier cornering up in Canada, especially in springtime. We still have a lot of dirt and debris on the roads from winter sanding and stuff like that. And so if you catch a corner that has a little bit of that dirt and debris yet, you can maybe kind of feel the bum kind of slide out a little bit, but then you kind of reel it in really fast.
Yeah, does it feel like once you lose that bit of traction, like it's easy to get back?
It's pretty easy to get back because as I just said, you're never really going like a crazy amount of speed, so it just seems to catch control of itself quite quickly, even after it does slide. Even if once it does catch the pavement again, you're back on. And you know where it got its name from?
Cayman?
Cayman?
No.
So what are different things that are Cayman? So a lot of people think because it's spelled the exact same way that it's named after the Cayman Islands.
Right.
It's not. It's named after the Cayman alligator, which is spelled completely different.
Huh.
So I don't know if you get an alligator vibe when you're driving this thing. I don't know if I do. Like, I guess maybe the fact that a Cayman alligator can swiftly zigzag back and forth so quickly, maybe that's what it came from.
I was trying to find the correlation between...
That's about the only thing that I can really come up with is an alligator will sometimes zip around side to side very quickly, and it's very low and planted. So
yeah, that makes sense. I mean, yeah. I don't know if I was getting alligator vibes, but for sure it's good vibes. It's good vibes in this car.
Yeah.